Awesome. So Carrie, to you specifically, so working in a high school.
Yep.
You definitely have like an opportunity to minister to teens in a special way.
Right.
Probably have some conversations. Maybe sometimes teens come up to you, talk to you about struggles in relationships or friendships. We would hope that like teens would open up and hopefully, lean on people to give them some good wisdom. So can you give us, like, as a teacher in a school, in a high school particularly, like, can you give us an idea of what sort of the landscape of high school is right now for us? Like, I don't have kids in high school, so I have no concept. I do hear of like crazy things in elementary school sometimes, conversations, but it basically is just like Squid Game, like the fact that elementary school students are watching Squid Game, which I'm like, oh my gosh, parents, help us. But like, so when it comes to like modesty and chastity, what is sort of the landscape that you've seen or that you've interacted with in the students there?
So, first of all, I teach English, right? I don't teach theology. So, I mean, and it's, I think the landscape, like, what I compare the landscape to is the landscape like when we were in high school, and probably when you were in high school too, right? So like pre-social media, pre-internet days, right?
Yeah.
For us, like when Mike says mental chastity, like it was kind of easy for us to do that. It was hard to get your hands on like things like that. It was hard, we weren't watching videos 24/7 that were inappropriate. We weren't, there wasn't such a focus on how you looked because social media didn't create that focus, right? And what I find today with teenagers, first of all, relationships like romantic relationships are completely different with boys and girls nowadays. Like they don't date each other long term the way that when I was in high school they used to date each other long term. Relationships tend to be short and they tend to be intense and then they tend to end. And I just don't remember my friends having relationships like that, and I didn't have relationships like that when I was in high school. And so it tends to be very, I think with social media, kids' attention spans have gotten to be that 30-second attention span, and I think the same thing has happened with relationships. And so for kids, they tend to, they have friend groups, and they will be with one person for this amount of time, but then they rotate through the friend group, and then, I mean, seriously, that's what we see happening. That's what we see happening. There are obvious exceptions. I mean, there are a couple of long-term, boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, but it's the landscape has just changed, and I think it's confusing for kids because, divorce rates are so high, and I think kids they don't always have a good example of a strong married relationship in their life. Like maybe they do, maybe they have, aunts and uncles, or maybe their parents are still married, but so often they don't. And so that's the example that they take, is that relationships are short term,
Wow.
And so that's hard. That's really difficult for them to deal with. So it's really difficult. So.
Yeah, in talking to some of the high school students here that come here, that idea of the short and intense, and then it just ends abruptly.
Yep. And they're still friends. Like they're still super good friends with each other. Like
that's even weirder.
They have
like,
a very intense romantic relationship, but then they're still in the same friend group, so they are still friends with each other. They don't ostracize each other. It's very, very weird. It's I don't know. And like I said, there are exceptions. That's not everybody.
Yeah.
That's not every student. But that's what I see happening. So with kids and their relationships. So
wow.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video of our parents series called Reach, I would invite you to check out our other videos on our website, princeofpeaceormond.com, linked in the description below. And check out our YouTube page and Facebook page for other materials, other events going on for parents and families alike. Finally, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would love it if you like this video, subscribe to it, and share it with your friends and family who would like to know more about these different topics. We look forward to seeing you again.